Hello, family, friends, and fans. I'm Fletcher Roden, and this is Fletch Me Anything. Today on Fletch Me Anything, a joke. Well, you probably know what a joke is. I hope you don't know what this joke is. You may not know what you're watching, though. It's Fletch Me Anything. It's a show that ran for a couple years on this very YouTube channel, 5 days a week, upon which I talked about essentially anything I want to talk about. It's one of the reasons I called it Fletch Me Anything. Another is that I was and remain Fletch. Fletcher Roden, if you don't know me. I'm a writer mostly. I got a lot of books available under my name and others in the various formats, uh, paperback, Kindle, audiobook format. I've got a brand new book called Dr. Mom and Other Works of Short Fiction. We'll be talking about that this week. I'm also a recording artist with a lot of music that you can download all over the internet. Wherever you like to download your favorite music, you can download mine. I had a 4-record set released in January, all new recordings called Quadrilogy, all original material as well. And I've got a new single album, comes out in January of 2025. Can't give you the title, but it's a good. Anyway, if you'd like to know a little bit more about me, you go to my website, FletcherRoden.com. That's where you'll find lots of links, such as to Amazon.com, my authors page, Spotify.com, my artist page. There's free music you can download from my website. You can't get anywhere else. And there are links to this show, excuse me, this YouTube channel. I've got another show called Quotes and Quips that runs every Monday throughout the year here on this YouTube channel. And then there's a show last year, Tracking the Lone Wolf, on its own Fletcher Roden YouTube channel. So check that out, won't you? It supports a book I wrote called Tracking the Lone Wolf, The Sigma at Work, at Home, and at Play. And that's available paperback, Kindle, audiobook format. All right. That brings us to this, Fletch Me Anything. I'm doing this basically because, though I stopped doing it for a while, I did get some requests to do a few more. And since I've got a new book out, Dr. Mom and Other Works of Short Fiction, I thought this would be a good time to check back in with the Fletch Me Anything crowd and get back up to my old tricks. I used to do looking back webisodes. I'm going to do one of them by request, by popular demand. I'm going to do a joke today. I'm going to try a song, the music you know and love as you've never heard it before. I'm going to try to do a live stream Friday if I can manage. If I have the bandwidth, I'll do it. Anyway, lots of fun stuff, frivolous but fun. So in that vein, I'm going to do a joke, because who doesn't like a joke? And I like to give a little something. You're giving me your attention. You're giving me your time. So I'm giving you a joke. I didn't write it, but I'm passing it on to you. You can tell it at a party. Maybe it'll get you a laugh or two. Maybe it'll serve as a good example of how a good joke works. And if you're a comedy writer, you might like make a few notes. When I was doing Fletch Me Anything, I sometimes did Professor Roden's writing class, where I gave little tips and tricks, because I'm a writer of both fiction and nonfiction, also comedy. So this is sort of one of those. And if you don't get anything else out of it, you get a joke, you can tell it at a party tonight. You don't have to tell them where it's from. Or you can, and get them to subscribe to this channel and to my other channels. You can subscribe too. Doesn't cost anything. It never will. It'll make finding the old Fletch Me Anythings easier if you are not already subscribed. And it'll make finding my new videos easier. There's lots of them coming. They're not new, but they're new to you. Anyway, so a joke. Here's a joke. Hope you enjoy it. Afterwards, we'll talk a little bit about it. 3 guys walk into a bar. Catholic priest, Baptist minister, and a rabbi. Bartender looks up to him and says, "What is this, some kind of joke?" Okay. Well, it's not going to change anybody's world. I don't imagine the earth suddenly stop turning on its axis, but it's a cute little joke, and it works on a number of levels. So let's talk about it. It's one of the rare jokes. It's a meta joke. It's a joke about a joke. People generally laugh only at one thing: other people. Sometimes they laugh at themselves, but generally it's a person they laugh at. People laugh at people, themselves, sometimes other people, most of the time. But they don't laugh at objects, they laugh at people. They only laugh at dogs and inanimate objects when they behave like people. You know, I remember a cartoon when I was a kid of a crinkle cut French fry, with a caterpillar going over it like that, a caterpillar like that. And the word bubble was, "Cut it out, you dummy, I'm a French fry." Get it? See? So it's only funny because the French fry is acting like a human being. And so is the caterpillar. So we don't laugh at objects, we laugh at people. And sometimes we laugh at ourselves, most of the time we laugh at others. Now, there's a phrase you might have heard called the rule of threes. I mentioned the old Fletch Me Anything, which you can go back and watch a rerun of Fletch Me Anything. I left some of them up, and one of them discusses this. It's a rule of threes. It's not the rule of threes. It's a different rule of threes. So the rule of threes is you establish with number one, you create a pattern by repeating number one with number two, and then number three turns the whole thing on its ear. So if ever you've heard a story that begins three guys, blank, 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 a blank, for example, three guys are facing the guillotine, three guys are escaping from a mental institution, three guys are escaping from a POW camp. This is generally a rule of threes. The first guy establishes, the second guy repeats that in order to create a pattern, and the third guy diverges from the pattern in order to create the surprise and the laugh. So that's a rule of threes. In joke telling, terminology. But it doesn't really work these days because the third guy was almost always a racial class. The rule of threes pretty much leads us to a stereotype that we laugh at. Because all we're given to laugh at is the stereotype. You have three guys, one is radically different, either very much, either much more intellectually challenged, or for some reason given to frugality or another stereotype. It's always a stereotype. And racial stereotype jokes, they don't really fly that much anymore. This is a relic of a bygone era. But that's the rule of threes. Now, the other rule, a rule of threes, is that a good joke has a target, hostility, realism, emotion, exaggeration, surprise. I did a whole webisode on Fletch Me Anything, the original run, which you can see on this playlist. And it basically says that THREES spells threes. Target, hostility, realism, emotion, exaggeration, surprise. THREES. And if you've got all these ingredients, you've got a good joke. So not only does this joke does double duty. First of all, it works as a rule of threes joke, but it doesn't fall into the pitfalls of a rule of threes joke. But it also works as a rule of threes joke. THREES. So let's look at it on both levels. As a rule of threes joke, you got your first guy, Catholic priest, you got your second guy, Christian or a Baptist minister, and you got your third guy, a rabbi. So two Christians and a non-Christian. This is definitely a setup for an anti-Semitic joke. The rabbi is going to take the punch because he's in the third man slot, and the only thing we can do is laugh at some Jewish stereotype. It's the only way this joke can work, unless it gets radically altered. So we open with target. Well, if you're going to buy into this, then yeah, the target is the rabbi. There's a clear target. If you look at it on the level of this is a joke that makes fun of jokes, that makes fun of lame, hokey ass jokes like this one, then, well, the target is the rule of threes itself. Three guys go into a bar. Okay, I'll bite. You know, it doesn't. It tells you right away you better be on your guard. So is there a target? Yeah. The rule of threes joke is the target. Do we have hostility? On this side, we've got if it's a rabbi you're going to laugh at, and you're eager to do that, then you probably have some hostility toward the Hebrew race or toward people who practice the religion called Judaism in any of its variations. So yeah, if you're ready to laugh at a rabbi, then you've got some hostility in you. And it correlates with the target. If you're laughing at the joke, if you can see that this is a hacky joke, then you've already got hostility toward the fact that it's a hacky joke. If you're a joke person, you have hostility toward this kind of cliche, this triteness, this been done to death, this you're leading me down a miserable path where this is going to be ugly. So you have hostility, it's there. Realism. Well, realistically, three such men could go into a bar together. That could happen. That's why the classic rule of threes joke works, because realistically, three guys of different nationalities could be in a POW camp, or they could be in a insane asylum together, or they could be in, some other circumstance together, jail where they're trying to escape. That joke never goes, there are three guys in the Russian army, an American, an Italian. Those guys wouldn't be in the Russian army. So there's no realism to it. So the rule of threes applies realism and it works. If you look at the joke as a meta joke, a joke about jokes where we're going to laugh at ourselves and our own expectations, then is it realistic that someone would tell a joke like this? Well, you don't hear it often, but given the political climate, I think you might be hearing it more often. So is it realistic? Sadly, it is. Emotion? Well, if you have hostility, you have emotion. So if you have hostility against a rabbi or anybody that would represent to you, then yeah, your emotion is anger, hatred, jealousy, resentment, whatever it is. If you don't like this kind of joke, you have hostility toward it, your emotion is going to be anger, resentment. Maybe you're insulted already. Is it exaggerated? Well, under the rule of threes, yeah, three such guys are not likely to go to a bar together because their scheduling would be so radically different. But it's possible, but it's an exaggeration to think three leaders of the three, not the three major religions, because that leaves out Islam, but that a Catholic preacher and a Baptist minister and a rabbi would all be together in a bar. It exaggerates the case, and it exaggerates the joke, because that's like the epitome of such a joke. The three guys go into a bar. One is this, and the others are a rabbi. You couldn't. It exaggerates the point almost to the point ad absurdum. Okay, excuse me. Then, would you excuse me? Then when you get to surprise, well, the surprise works either way, because you're not expecting the bartender to turn the thing on its ear. If you like a good old fashioned the rule of threes joke, you're expecting the Catholic priest to order something for some reason. You're expecting the Baptist minister to order something comparable to establish the pattern, and then you're expecting the rabbi to do or say something foolish so we can laugh. But you don't get that chance because you're surprised when the bartender reverses it and upends your expectations. You don't get to laugh at the rabbi this time. This time you're laughing at yourself and you're surprised. You didn't think you would be. Same thing with the whole meta joke when he says, what is this, some kind of joke? Well, now you realize the same thing. From the beginning, you weren't being sold some old hacky joke that you were expected to think was funny. You got the same value of the surprise. So target, hostility, realism, emotion, exaggeration, surprise. This joke works as two jokes in one. And it also goes to show you, that the old, the old rule of threes joke, it doesn't work. It really doesn't. Unless you're going to upend it and make it about how hacky the joke is so that we can laugh at ourselves, which not everybody's willing to do, mind you. Some people just be, I don't get it. What did the one guy say? But I don't mean to deride people with a certain accent. What did the one guy say? I mean, I find myself perplexed by this riddle. What was the answer of the Catholic priest? No, buddy, you're not getting it, Spock. I don't know. But it's got all the ingredients. It works. It's clean. And nobody has to suffer for it. Isn't that nice? You yourself might have to own up to a little chuckle. But I think it works. It's a quick joke. It won't take too long. So if you're at a bar and you use that joke, at least, even if it's not funny, you'll be able to move right on to the next thing, or someone else will, hopefully. So anyway, certainly don't come to me for advice on getting along socially. That's definitely not why I'm here. This is not high society with Fletcher Road. Always drink your tea with your pinky upward. Anyway, have fun with that joke. Maybe you can learn from it if you're a comedy writer. I hope you picked up something of value. If not, you picked up a joke and something to think about. I'll be here all this week, 10 a.m., so as not to interfere with my August 1st pre-scheduled webcast of Quotes and Quips with Fletcher Roden. So tune into that, tune into this, Tracking the Lone Wolf, subscribe, check out Dr. Mom and other works of short fiction. Lots going on, tune in again. And until then, bye, Mary.